Hello and welcome to the Gay and Straight podcast. I'm Jonathan,
I'm Paul.
and
Gay.
hurrah! We live in the brand. We have been sent a question. Would you date someone with a problematic past?
I don't date people anyway, but I don't know what's the problem. Like, are they a drug user or
Oh,
because sometimes I think you can't help the past you've had. Mine's not flawless, but there are some things that I couldn't get involved in. You
like,
know,
like what?
like if I date someone for a couple of weeks or whatever, and then they say, "By the way, I'm in £50,000 worth of debt." It'd be like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I'm debt phobic, but that was always a deal breaker for me.
Yeah, I'm not. It's not that I'm debt phobic. It's just I'm not. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Like I'm not in £50,000 worth of debt because I go without rather than go with.
I think it's for me. I've covered that. I wouldn't date someone poor, and that by saying poor, that means in debt. It's fair enough if you don't earn a lot, but you've got to live within your means and know how to live within your means,
Yeah,
not live beyond your means.
it's the living in the means bit
Uh,
because I don't have a problem with what anyone does for a living, so long as so long as if they earn 100, I need to make sure that they've got one left before they get paid their 100 again.
yeah,
They've always got to be in the black. I can't. I
yeah,
don't do well with the red because I want to make sure that when I come home, I close a door and I don't have that as a problem.
no.
Worry about somebody else's money, their spending
Well,
habits.
taking the money equation out of it, would you date someone that's been in prison?
Yeah, depending on what they were in prison for, though.
What would your sort of
Well,
no
if
go?
they had a boyfriend who had a bald head and a beard and they killed them because they walked in the house one day with muddy shoes and 8 years later they got out and then I'm the next in line, definitely not.
Right.
But if they went to prison because they were 18, very, very drunk, and they ended up getting into an altercation with a police officer, all right, as long as you've not done it since, you regret it, you can't help everything you do in life.
Right.
So it's like there are levels to certain crimes, I think. If they were
White
younger
collar.
and made a
White.
stupid choice and shoplifted and got caught and
Right.
they've never done it again, it was a stupid thing. And
I don't know. I don't think I've ever dated anyone that's had a criminal background.
mm,
I've dated someone. No, I tell a lie. I've actually dated someone that was arrested for cruising.
right.
But I say date. We shagged a few times. It wasn't a relationship. It was more of a carnal aspect. Then it turned into a friendship.
Mm.
Um, So that didn't really bother me that much. Well, it didn't bother me at all, actually.
Mm.
So,
Like I say, I'm really not. Some things are absolute deal breakers. Some things you can forgive because of age and
so, so,
stupidity.
so money situation. I think we're in agreement.
Yeah,
So
I couldn't.
I wouldn't want to live with someone that is sort of living beyond their means.
Yeah, oh
I mean,
no.
if someone's learnt by their mistakes and like a discharged bankrupt or something like that, yeah, not too bad. As long as they've learnt from that
Yeah.
and it's not going to be dragging me into something along those lines. Um, Serial daters.
Uh, there was a what was that woman's name? I think her name was Laura or Louise. This woman who was from Cramlington in the northeast.
Cramlington, that's a cool name. It sounds like a period drama. You got people going around with gypsy dresses and sort of
But
bussets.
yeah, I went on a date with her, and she was telling me that last month she went on 30 dates in 30 days, and I just that sort of idea for me, it's like, well, why are we out on a date then? Like, if 30 people weren't good enough to sort of crack your code, why what Mr. 31 is gonna.
Well,
Because when I had the date arranged with her, she was the only person I had a date arranged with. Because
I had 90 dates in 90
yeah,
days. That was just basically to launch myself into sort of Manchester life. Slept with a few of them, didn't sleep with all of them. And yeah, that was that for me. That was meeting someone, getting to know them, and I say, in fairness, the one that had been arrested, that was the one we were very good friends. Lovers for a bit, but and that was John the Bear. Very
John the
lovely,
Bear.
lovely. Um, so, but yeah, so I mean, I think someone that is a serial cheater,
Oh no, I'm not messing about with that because why am I going to be the difference?
yeah. I mean, but I think there's always a thing about a bad boy. I mean, I went out with a cancer surgeon called T-Boy, and I always knew he was a bit of a rumman. Um, but it was just like, he was a cancer surgeon. He had a Jaguar. He had horses. He had a house in Colwyn Bay. Uh, he was fun. He was that. I knew it only had a lifespan for so long, but
Yeah.
I did sort of get swept away because it was the only bad boy that I've sort of dated, but he was there was something that the sparks of the fire. There was it was there, but I knew I was one of the, it got to that point where I was like, I don't like who I'm becoming because I kept like trying to overthink or double think. And I knew he's just a twat. Uh, uh, he's a lovely twat, but he is just a rogue one. Um, I think anyone that has, oh, I don't know. I don't think I could go out anyone sort of as like dying, long term sick.
Yeah. Well,
I think so. But although there are people out there that were sort of in the 90s when people were still dying with sort of AIDS and HIV, people would go from one to another to another to another.
why were
Well,
they
it's
trying to
because
get in?
feeling needed. I say it's one of those relationships where you know it's got a finite end, um, because they're sort of because at the time HIV was a death sentence.
Right.
I mean, the drugs were coming out, but they weren't coming out quick enough, and people weren't reacting to it. But now it's like treated HIV is treated like a diabetes. So, so it's a chronic illness rather than sort of it's a death sentence. But there were people that would go and work for or do volunteer for a sort of a charity agency, and it's like HIV, sort of go and outreach and things like that. It's like and end up in relationships because I think
What?
it's feeling needed, and then you've got that whole drama of someone becoming sick, and then everyone getting around you. Oh, I've been so well for being around this person, and then they died, and then oh, it must be really bad for you, and then suddenly they'd be back in another relationship with someone with the same condition, rinsing and repeating.
That's crazy.
But some people get off on that. It's just like that sort of because people were sort of at the time, people would try to get themselves infected.
I don't understand that at
Well,
all.
I think there was a thing, it was because there was a fatalistic aspect of having HIV. Everyone, because everyone thought they were going to get it anyway, so they may as well push it, get it now,
But what
and
was
deal with
what
it.
was wrong with safe sex? Am I just a prude here or what? Like, if you have safe sex, you don't get it.
Well,
But if you go unprotected, you could get a death
yeah,
sentence.
yeah. I mean, that was the thing, but everyone felt that maybe that would happen and something would happen and they'd get it, so may as well control it and get it, and then start dealing with it there and then.
Jeez.
I think what it was a really really bonkers time.
You're not kidding?
And you think about it now, it's like 30 odd years ago.
Yeah.
Um, so it's crazy. I mean, HIV was around. It only got like the gay cancer. That's what it was like 1981. But cases were being found in like 79 and 80, but they just didn't realize because it was just like an aggressive form of cancer, and then it became what it was. And that was in America.
That is
So
absolutely bonkers. I've
it
never
is.
heard
So,
something so crazy.
but I think anyone that was sort of very that was unwell, like I wouldn't want to get involved, and I think as well, I think it's sort of an element of someone that's a bit mad.
Yeah.
I think, that I would find that really really tough.
Yeah.
Someone's got severe mental health issues, and I just think I I couldn't cope.
No.
It's not something that I could deal with, and it's one of those things where it's like one strike and you're out sort of thing.
Mm.
And um, but it's horses for courses.
Yeah. You made me forget the question now. Is this like reasons I wouldn't date people?
Yeah. So it was, would you date someone with a problematic
That was it.
past?
Problematic past. So what else could be there? So crazy ex-partners.
Crazy exes.
I absolutely can't be bothered with. I've been in that situation without knowing I was in that situation, and I had a guy threatening to cave me head in. Who,
Really?
yeah, because I was with his ex. Well, I was very confused by it because I didn't understand. Because I've always sort of, when a relationship's ended for me, it's over.
Yeah.
I've never been a stalker. I've never stayed invested. I've never been like, I've got to win her back. I've never been like that. It's a case of right, I'll press delete and I move on. That was
Mm. I
that was it. I was done.
I think with gay circles it was slightly different because at the time, um, gay life was you had your gay friends and you only had a small pool to deal with. So therefore, if you went out, you normally with either an ex or someone who's been with your ex. I mean, I was that, but when I first launched into Manchester, I was out and about a lot, and then I was meeting up with other friends, and they're saying, "Oh right, yeah, I know Jonathan. Oh yeah, yeah." So I was, and it got to a point, and I did feel sorry because so when Rob and I got married, my ex James had moved to Manchester from Scotland, and he was out dating circles and stuff, and it turned out that everyone he was sort of like talking to or dating knew me either personally or some of them he approached because we had a reportage photographer at our wedding and people were using those shots for their profile pics. I said, "Oh, that's a nice picture. Oh, yeah, it's at a friend's wedding. Oh, it's great." And then he's there getting to a conversation and just suddenly realizing. So I think it is really. I think there's only one ex that I wouldn't really want to be in a room with, and that was sort of. I just I'm upset with myself because he was a closeted gay man that was slowly coming out,
Right.
and I think I just invested a lot of time and effort and energy into him, and he didn't invest likewise into a relationship, and it just felt as though I was being used, and to a certain extent, I felt like, "Oh right, yeah, I'm there for a support network. I'm being really lovely with him, and da da da." Da. But then I thought, well, you're just actually physically using me for my social network and for where I live, and so and it just didn't correlate, and I wouldn't want to be in the same room as him.
No, fair enough. I mean, like I said, when a relationship ends for me, I just press delete and I move on. I can't because there's a reason it's come to an end, and it's not because they might have burnt some toast that they
Right?
offered to make me. It's for a reason. So it's like, all right, well, and I've never been the person who kicks off, creates drama. It's very
No.
factual, matter of fact. It's like it's got to be done smooth. So
If someone wants to end a relationship, then you just think, right, okay, is it worth fighting for, or is it worth trying to amend? And if it's not, then okay, fair enough.
yeah, yeah,
And I think some people do get into that drama cycle that
I can't
they
stand it.
try to create a drama to invigorate the relationship. Where with me, I just don't have drama, and it's
No.
just like, yeah, not doing that.
Dramas for television, and I can turn the television off.
Yeah,
I can't do it in life. It's too time consuming. It's too emotional,
yeah.
and I don't want to consume my time with something negatively emotive. Why would I want to do that? It doesn't make any sense.
No. So
there's lots of problematic pasts, and the thing is, the older you get, the more chance they're going to have more of a problematic past because they've done more stuff.
I mean, it was like we had that having this conversation in the pub. I mean, in fairness, there are just few interesting conversations in pubs, and for me, it would be I wouldn't want to date someone with kids,
No, no, no,
and I
that's not
think
my
it must
thing
be really
either.
challenging in the straight world because when you're 40 or 30, say if you're dating a woman of a similar age, it's very likely that they'll have
Yeah,
kids.
the 30s is the big and the bad one because when you're sort of dating somebody,
Are
like
you
you,
my new daddy?
yeah. Yeah. It's you can be in a getting to know somebody and everything's cool and you're in a chat and it's like, what do you want for the future? And you're like, well, look, I don't want kids. I've never really connected with them. It's not for my future. I don't want to give up. Sounds selfish, but I don't want to give up all my weekends to go to kids' parties.
No,
Don't want to do that. I don't want to spend the next couple of years up to my wrists in poo.
no.
It's just not for me. It is for other people, not for
And
me.
kids don't leave home now.
No, well, they can't
They
afford to,
can't
can
afford
they?
to. It's just like that's unless your kids come in with a trust fund and another house so they can move out. Then this is why it's.
Yeah,
It
it's
must
not
be
for me.
really, really tough. And it's equally for single dads as well. When you like the weekend dad, so the time that you want to go out with your girlfriend, you've got your kid,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then and you just think you're not going to do anything
No, but
along those
one of
lines.
the hard bits on the not gay side is when you do have them chats and you're like, I don't want kids, I don't want to do that. You might meet a woman who's like, yeah, me neither, and then something happens, and nearly every woman I've ever met and been in a relationship with who doesn't want children then wants children. Something happens there. I don't know whether it's the clock or whatever, but they then change. And then they get mad at you because you don't want kids. It's like, but I never did. I never will. You said you didn't, but
Uh,
you obviously didn't pay full
what
attention to
what
it.
sort of amuses me is like if a guy says I don't want to have kids and you reach a certain age, why not just go out and get a vasectomy? In all honesty, so if you're single and you're mingling, you know you don't want kids, just go and get a vasectomy. And then if
Mm,
someone says I don't want kids, well, that's fine because I've had a vasectomy, so that's not going to happen.
yeah.
So it negates that. So you can say, right, I know I don't want kids. I've made a conscious decision. It's a transaction which is.
I just don't want a doctor messing about with me giblets, chopping wires up down
But the
there. I'd
thing is,
rather.
if you,
I've never been afraid of safe sex. You know what I mean? I'll wear whatever
I
you want me
know,
to
but
wear.
I say some people sort of
Yeah, but
say
it's
that,
just sex. It's not gonna. It's not. It doesn't control the world for me. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
but a lot of people say some people, even though the chaps had safe sex, the woman still got pregnant.
Yeah. Well, that actually happened to a girl I worked with called Laura and her fella Zaffa. Um, he'd had the snip and she got pregnant, and
Oh,
it was his.
right.
Nobody would have slept with Laura because Zaffa was a beast of a human. You know what I mean? And he was the nicest man on earth. But she got pregnant, and for a bit, he was a bit like, "Oh, I've had the snip though," and until a doctor told him, "Well, it can still happen, mate. It can still
Yeah,
happen."
yeah.
And then, she obviously knew he was worried, and she was the one who suggested a DNA test just to get it all sorted out. That was in Scarborough, that, and sure enough, it was his kid,
Hmm.
and he was over the moon. So, yeah, I couldn't date people with children either. That's not something I ever wanted, but it's a minefield when like even the Jen at Paul's
Hmm.
hairdressers, she was very much, I'm not having a kid, I'm not having a kid,
She
and
got two now.
I don't know. I know she had one and then split up from her husband.
Yeah.
And she was very much absolutely not. And I used to tease her. I'd be like, "You will. I've met you before. I know full well.
Mm.
I've met women like you, just like." And then she's got Martha. So
Yeah.
she that biological clock ticked for her. So when you're a straight man and you don't want kids in your 30s, you run into that wall a lot, and then you're the bad guy
Mm.
because you don't sway on what you agreed.
That's why I say. I mean, I think that's why I don't understand why you don't get. So if you're getting to a certain age and you are dating women of a younger age or what have you, get the snip. So therefore, they can't say, "Oh, well, I want this," because it's off the table. You say, "Well, I've had a vasectomy, so it's not going to happen," and then that's it. It's out of the hands.
Well,
So
it
that
still end the relationship, though.
mm,
It'll still end the relationship the same way as when you say, "Well, I still don't want kids."
mm.
Because when some people hit that point, they never sway on it. But yeah, you're getting older. There's so many things that can pop up. Like you say, these kids, there's the potential debt, these potential exes. Like you say, these, a drug past. I wouldn't be cool with someone who's had a past with drugs.
Just say no.
Just say
I
no.
know. Yeah, I think some people are just walking red flags.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's 8 billion people on the planet. You don't need to go for the ones who are.
But it always happens. They always end up on your thing, and it's that whole bad boy mentality. So it's like, oh, I can change them. Oh.
Yeah, that's it. Women want a bad boy. They think they can change them, and guys, for some reason, go for damaged women, thinking they can tame them, and it
Or,
never works on either side.
well, it's the princess thing. It's just like the prince and princess, the rescuer complex. Oh, I'll rescue her and make everything okay. However, some people just bring the problems.
Yeah. So then you say, well, who's left?
Yeah.
People have said to me in the past, with all my sort of limitations and the no's that I won't have, they're like, yeah, but you're really limiting yourself. It's like,
Yeah.
maybe so, but I would rather wait within that limit, or
Yeah.
I'm fine without,
Yeah.
and I'm in that. I'm not hitting, 95% of the things I have a problem with,
Mm.
and I can discuss the 5%, because they were for foolish times. It was when I was a young kid. It was when I was trying stuff, like getting absolutely blasted off me nut, with all sorts of alcohol, and ending up, waking up half naked in Wigan in a field, and,
Oh gosh.
just silly things when you're 17, 18 years old, and you end up God knows where. But they're things where you can say, but that was it. I've never done it since. I
Well,
learned my
yeah.
lesson.
I think you're allowed to make mistakes when you're young, but I think if you keep remaking those mistakes,
Yeah, they're not
then
mistakes if you keep doing it time after time.
yeah, it's not. So, dear listeners, what is your big red flag with dating? What would you not do? Or would you just think, I can tame them? Are you just like a walking Reddit post? So, you can find us on all social media networks or the Going Straight podcast. This is Jonathan signing off.
And Paul signing off.
Bye bye.